So I think back to my first interactions with getting to know you. We referenced earlier our good friend, JP Hall.
Mm-hmm.
The first instance I had of like really getting to know you, Jeff, was you have a screen door on your building, and I'm obsessed with the fact that you have a screen door.
And that was due thanks to JP.
I know. I think it's the only building in downtown that has a screen door. Yeah, because you had to go through like a process to get that approved.
And it couldn't just be plastic or metal. It had to be a wooden screen door. So I had a guy built it, a local guy, and JP's like, let's get it done.
We think about what that sound feels like.
Mm-hmm.
So being a barber is kind of a longstanding traditional profession. Mm-hmm. It really doesn't change. Styles change, cuts change, trends. But that skill set is such a long-standing skill set. And then to have that traditional screen door slam, bang. I don't know. There's just something about it. I also try to get a screen door on my building.
No.
Not possible with the way the door frame is. I was very disheartened. I love having the door open. I don't like flies. Like those.
Have you talked to Don Lee?
I could.
That's who made my door. And he's going to custom make that door, and it's going to last forever.
He custom made our front door, too. Like the hardwood, because he added some of that historical glass in.
He'll make that thing fit.
He will.
If you really, really wanted a screen door, we can be, hey, it's better in, a team is better than one.
That's right. Start the trend. That door.
Screen door trend.
That smacking of a screen door, there's something nostalgic about that. That has to be kind of good for you and Kyle, too, when people come in through the front door. Mm-hmm. Well, today I am joined in the podcast studio with two wonderful, loving, kind people, Jeff and Karen Leslie. And they are joining us today to talk about what it's like to be rooted in a community, things that have shaped them, why they stay, why they raise their family here, and to have an honest conversation on what it's like to be a Wabash County resident from their perspective and the things that they find important. So thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Glad to have you. So let's start, and either of you can kind of banter back and forth. How did you meet, and how did you land here? We're rewinding time. Like share, if I could turn back time.
Well, we met in Hillsboro, Ohio. I was a barber there, and I actually knew her sister, Kathy, really well. So
they were like best friends.
Yeah. Me and Kathy and another guy and another girl just hung out all the time. And she lived in Florida at that time, and she would come back and visit. She actually had a boyfriend at that time, and we would all go to like Dave & Buster's and hang out, and it was a good time. But
so she had a boyfriend at that time?
She had a boyfriend.
Okay.
And I thought nothing of it because it was just a group of four that we just hung out and did stuff like that. Go to Dave & Buster's, hang out at the house, play games, and do a bunch of other cool stuff. But
Not myself.
No.
And my boyfriend.
So
I
when
was
she would
in
come
Florida,
back to,
but I would come back to visit.
Okay.
Yeah. So then we would just hang out with them, and I knew her whole family really well. And then at some point she broke up with said boyfriend, had to get out of Florida and move to Ohio.
Just needed a life change, get my life back on track.
Sure.
So then her sister got married, kind of took that out of the equation of our group of four. The other girl started dating somebody long distance, so every evening she was doing something else, and the other guy worked third shift, so it left us just hanging out.
We were stuck with each other.
Oh.
So, Karen, how long has that been then? So, from how many years is that?
That was in 2003 that I moved from Florida to Ohio to straighten out my life because all of my family was up north.
Okay.
I was the only one still in Florida. I was there 16 years, and I moved in with my parents and was not seeking a relationship at all. But friendship-wise, great friendship, great guy.
Sure.
We had a lot of fun together. So that was in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
August of 2003 is when I moved to Ohio.
So, Ohio, how do we land here?
So let's see. We end up getting together, get married, yada, yada, yada. Here we are. And I wanted out of Ohio just to start a family somewhere else other than everybody knew me, but they didn't know her. Or they would know her as her dad's daughter. Mm-hmm. So it's like, all right, so let's go somewhere where we are known as Jeff and Karen instead of just being there. So I grew up in Chicagoland area, and
the
she grew up
majority of
here.
my life was in Florida.
Yeah.
First 10 years we're here.
First 10 years we're here. Her dad was a preacher at Bachelor Creek in the 70s and 80s. So we came back to visit and hit it off well with a good friend of hers.
She was my childhood best friend.
And
so you, Karen, had your roots already here originally, then moved to Florida. I guess I didn't realize that.
I was born and raised here because my father was the minister at Bachelor Creek for 13 years.
So then so that's why you tried it out again to see what it was like and to visit?
Yeah, so we came back to visit. I thought it's halfway between Ohio and Chicago. Let's do this, and then let's just pray where we're supposed to be. And God will open up doors if we're supposed to be there. He'll shut them if we're not. And if that doesn't work out, then we'll head to Tennessee and see what's going on down there. And we came back to visit the friends and went walking around downtown.
He went walking around downtown. I was hanging out with my girlfriend. He came, he was like, I'm just going to go looking. I'm like, okay.
So there was a building across the street from the current building I'm in. I was looking in a window because there was a barber pole on that building. So I was like, what is this? Which is now Twisted Scissors.
That building is what he was looking in the window of.
And so I turned around and there was a sign in my window, and they had the old 1970s metal blinds that were in the window, so you couldn't see in the building. So I called the number and said, hey, I would like to look at this building. We're only in town for a little bit. I said, can we look at that? And she said, when do you need that? I said, well, we're leaving in 2 hours. So if you can figure out how to get us in this building real quick, she said, I'll be down in a half hour.
And she was the listing agent?
Yeah, listing agent that was there. So I called Karen. I said, hurry up, get ready, because they're going to be here in a half hour. So came down. She handed me the little paper they used to hand you, all the details.
Oh, like a tear sheet or something?
I was like, all right, here's the details. I'm looking at it, and financially, I'm like, we can pull this off as long as the building's not falling in on itself. Like, we'll be fine. And she's opening it up, and she said, what do you plan on doing with it? I said, a barber shop. And she opened up the door. She said, this used to be a barber shop for like 30 years. And there's 2 barber chairs in there.
The old cash register.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I just sat there and went, if that's not the open door we asked for and we don't walk through this, we're pretty dumb. Yeah. So, like, obviously we went home and prayed about it. And, like, I think we're moving to Wabash, Indiana. Like, I don't know what else to do with that. And so here we are. I mean, we
bought it a few weeks later. And then spent the next weekend. 6 months coming every weekend. So he worked Tuesday through Saturday. So we would leave when he got off work at 2:00, and we'd come and spend Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then go home Monday night so he could be at work on Tuesday.
What did you think of the space when you walked in? Obviously it sounds like it was confirmation. You prayed on it. You were looking for confirmation that if this is where you're to be, you'll be. Was it almost like, okay, God, I got you?
Yeah. It was at
you know
the
what
time.
I mean?
Yeah, it was weird because I had no idea why we would come to Wabash.
You're like,
he's from Chicago. I'm from Orlando. And I had only been that was in 2004. And no, I'm sorry, that was in 2005. So I had only been in Ohio married for a few months. We didn't date very long before he proposed. And then we only date before we started officially dating, and before we were married, it was less than 10 months.
Sometimes you just know.
You just know. Yeah. And we were older. And so we had just been through a lot, and we had been in relationships that helped us decide that. But we got married in October, and we found the building in March
or April.
And we owned it in May. And then we moved here, and he opened up shop November 1st. So I wasn't in Ohio very long, and I was like, wait a minute, I just got to where my family is. And then I got married, and I thought I was going to be here. But okay, God, okay, we'll do this. And there were already confirmations that my life was going the way it was supposed to go once I met and realized, okay, he's the one.
Yeah.
Lucky for you.
Yeah.
Good things to realize.
That, like, hey, you're welcome to Hillsboro. Just kidding, we're moving.
Yeah, just kidding. Yeah. How do you feel about back that way to the west? We're going to Wabash. Load it up.
Let's go.
You know, you've been in business. You're celebrating, as your shirt there celebrates. I was doing a little recon info. 20 years as a barber.
It's crazy.
And you think about how many people have passed through that screen door,
Yeah.
over 20 years, 2 decades worth of a profession, and the impact that has had. If I understand correctly, you view that as part of your mission field, sitting in that barber chair.
Yeah. So originally I wanted to be a youth minister coming right out of high school. And then went to college and said, that is not for me. College is not my thing. And my brother, Brian, said, look, there's ministry everywhere. You can still do youth ministry from a barber chair. And I said, thank you. I needed that. Let's go. So decided to do that and just make my ministry there. I have an opportunity to talk to people. I can still do youth ministry in some different form or fashion. So, and if you've been in the shop, you see all our signatures that we started to put on the wall and things like that. And there's times where I just stop in there, nobody else is in there, and just kind of thank God for like every one of these signatures as a human being, whether they're still with us or they're not with us, is somebody's been in here. So those are blessings that God has given us to keep going for 20 years. So just stop and pray and thank God for all those people and the ones that haven't signed the wall, obviously, but it's a neat reflection every now and then to walk in there and go, wow, 20 years.
I read somewhere, and 20 years for a small business is remarkable. So kudos and congratulations to you. I know you're going to pass that glory on to God right away.
Right.
And you can say it if you want to instead of me. I know that's where you're giving the credit. But it is remarkable because it takes grit, and it can be tough, and it can feel dry at times when you're like, how are we going to make it? And then you continue to trust. Looking at 20 years at Center Court, and also the contact you've had with all those people, I read somewhere that individuals who are in the profession of touching people, because you're touching, you're cutting hair, and I'm assuming you wash it off.
No.
Or brush it off.
Yeah.
Brush it off. Yeah, thank you. That's right. You don't have a sink back there. So I
I
can't come in from a head massage.
No, can't do that. We'll just we'll hook you up with the fade. I told you we can do that.
And you do the hot shaves. Yeah. There's something about touching someone that you're connecting with them and feeling that energy, that connection that passes between people. And I imagine there are moments you catch people in the peak, in the high, and then sometimes down in that valley.
Yeah.
Do you ever see that providing an opportunity to connect in a different way with someone than just, yep, your hair looks great, see ya?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's constant. Like, there's a special relationship, I think, that we have with everybody that walks through that door. Just Kyle and I were talking about this not too long ago, that like, man, I can remember specifically a day, don't remember the conversation, but we just absolutely lost it, how funny the situation was in the barbershop. And we're just laughing. And oh, man, next person in the door brought us to tears over something that was just tragic.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, the roller coaster you can get on in a matter of minutes is crazy. But it's good, and just the things that you don't expect that you just got to be there for. And that's why you say, hey God, like, help me through this day to just represent you well. Yeah. I know I'm going to fail like at that at times, but also, how do I represent you well? Because somebody's going to come in hurting. Somebody just needs a laugh, which Kyle is awesome at providing. But like, there's those times where you just need to laugh and you just have a good time, or you need to forget about what's going on in your day. So let's watch the movie, let's watch sports, let's do those things, and let's just talk about having a good time.
And that's Kyle McLaughlin.
Yes.
He's been with you how many years now?
10.
He's got a decade under his belt.
It's crazy.
It's neat to walk by your shop, even if I'm not popping in, if I'm running errands around downtown Wabash, which is where the barbershop is located, and to hear the laughter and the care that comes through that door, and to know that that's a safe space in multiple ways. And thank you to you and Kyle for holding space for people.
Well, thank you.
We get in that big rush, don't we? Like, the way the world is set up right now, it's like, hurry on to the next thing, and to sit in a chair like that and pause. What's that like for you, Karen, to know that he's in there, mission field, mentoring, and to see that him, I'm sure he comes home and carries it, the highs and the lows sometimes.
Yeah, I'm very proud of him. He is very much a people person and is phenomenal.
For sure.
Yes. And he is very good at being relational. He's got such a big heart, and he's a phenomenal listener. He is very wise. I don't want to say spiritually, but in like biblically grounded. And so he just gives wise counsel. And I think that people naturally gravitate towards that. So he's just the best person to sit and listen to and to talk to, whether you're speaking difficult times or whether you're speaking about exciting times. Just to be in his presence, I think, is really good. Yeah.
And it's the way you can lean in.
Very much so. Yeah.
So he's in the barber chair, not giving me a haircut. We've already established. Someday when I get my fade, maybe I'll have a shave just so I can feel it. My husband used to love, well, when he had hair. Jeff was his barber, and then, now he's...
For good
We
times.
get older.
We're good. We do. We're only good for so many hair growths.
There we go.
Right? So, Carrie, what are your days like? Because you are a manager of operations. So let's see, you're a CMO, a COO. Are you the CFO also? Chief Financial Officer?
Every abbreviation
She's the chief educator, right? I heard before we really got into the podcast, you're singing 2 worship services a weekend.
Not every week, just once a month. Yeah.
You signed up for the once a month slot at Bachelor Creek. And I do want to talk a little bit more about your church if that's something you're comfortable with. So tell me, while he's spinning people in the chair, you have a very full day as well. And we can't overlook that. So tell me about.
I'm a mom and I love it.
Yeah. I'm a mom.
Yes.
But there are people mom differently, and that's okay. Yeah. And you mom in a way that I think, much like Jeff is mentoring and fellowshipping with people in a chair throughout the day, you're mentoring and fellowshipping with others in a different way.
Yes. We have 4 kiddos, 2 that are biologically ours, and then 2 that have been with us for over 2 years now and will soon be Leslie's. Yeah, super excited about that. We adore them. No, I just love kids. Yeah. And I always have. My profession prior to leaving, well, even when I left Florida, but I was a teacher. That's what my profession was. I taught in Florida, and then Ohio. I was just itinerant with students with special needs. I have a big heart for kids who don't have it easy and who struggle. I want to help them as much as possible. And I just love kids. I love their innocence. I love their desire to learn. I love to love. And so the innocence of kids just love to love as well. And so I'm just in my comfort zone there, I think. Yeah. And so the Lord, when I taught in public school, my very first year teaching in Florida.
What grades were you?
I taught first grade in Florida. And then we moved to Ohio, and I moved to Ohio, I should say, and there weren't any teaching positions. So I became an itinerant teacher, which is a special needs teacher who goes around to different locations of whether the kids are in their home because they can't be in the school or in a school or a preschool, whatever. And that was preschool age children that I did that. And I was working on my master's in special needs when Jeffrey said, I feel like the Lord wants us to look for a barbershop in Wabash.
Okay. You know, Cassidy, not to interrupt you, but my daughter, she's a first grade teacher, and we just were together, and she was telling me the skills that it takes to be with special needs children and how much respect she has for those that are in that field, because it can be challenging, but is rather rewarding when you see a child thrive no matter what their abilities are. And so just kudos to you for recognizing that filled you, because it can be very hard. It's hard. I mean, I cannot imagine being an educator and what she does every day and teaching a class of, I think she has 23 in a Title I school in Illinois, but she has her first student that has Down syndrome. And she talks about the person that helps and comes into her classroom to make sure he succeeds, that he is not forgotten, that he doesn't feel like he's slowing down the process of teaching and celebrating his wins. So bravo to you.
Thank you.
Because it takes a special heart.
It takes a lot of patience.
And you homeschooled.
So we do homeschool. So when we moved here, I no longer was educating in the public wheelhouse. But my first year teaching, I just felt like the Lord wanted me to homeschool. Jeffrey was not on board with that at all.
Weirdos.
Yeah.
and terrifying. Homeschooling is not for the faint of heart.
No, it is not.
I mean, parents freak out in general when it's like, oh, it's an e-learning day, because it's hard.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
And they don't teach like we used to.
No.
It's different.
No. Yeah. Yes. So Elijah, our oldest, was almost 5.
Okay.
And in short, Jeffrey just was like, he read a book and he thought, okay, let's talk about homeschooling. And I had written it off entirely. So we talked about it and we jumped right in. So Elijah's first year at home. We are in our 14th year of homeschooling. Yeah. So
do you have a group? I'm sorry. Are you a member of a certain group, or individually you do it yourself?
Individually.
Okay.
I currently, we are only at home because Elijah's at university now. He graduated last year. But we have been a part of multiple different groups over the years, just as life transitions and kids develop and kids need different things, whether socially or academically. And we've been a part of a couple different co-ops and something called Classical Conversations, which is not a co-op, but it is a group. It's a community group, and it's incredible. We found that during his 4th grade year of elementary school. And so we were a part of that, but it wasn't for Isabella once we got to the older years. And so that's something that we have decided a long time ago, that every single year we will reassess what does each kiddo need, and is this what's right? Is the public school system what we want for them? Is homeschooling that? Is private schooling that? And so, and within homeschooling, we have shifted curriculums numerous times over the years, just because kids' not abilities, but they're
what works for one is different for another. You know,
every kid is different, and every kid's brain is wired differently to where they can really enjoy something and not enjoy something else, and endure something easier than not. So just switching curriculums, and if one math curriculum works for one child one year and doesn't for the next year, okay, let's make a shift and see what else is out there. So yeah, it's shifted numerous times over the years, but we loved homeschool, and that's what we plan on doing when the littles get older as well.
Yeah.
And that's what I read in the book, is like nobody else has the responsibility to raise your children outside of you. God's given you these kids to
100%.
raise. So if that looks different, then okay. But a lot of times we as people put raising our children to somebody else.
Yeah.
Whether it's our church, it's the school, it's whatever. We'll let that village raise their children. No, it starts, even if you're at public school, there should be education at home, and the public school is a crutch to help you get to wherever they need. But like, we're not ones that are like, oh man, the public school is the worst. No, it's fine. But like for us,
oh sure,
it's just great. And she's so good at it that it's just like, let's run. Yeah. And it's our responsibility to raise these kids and get them ready for the world, raise them for the next step. So if they're 3rd grade, I got to prepare you for 4th grade. Whatever it is, I got to raise you for the next step, prepare you for that.
Ultimately, raising you to have good character and good moral foundation, whatever your family may be, and just getting you ready. Each is the next step. Each year is the next step. But in our opinion, we are trying to set you up for success when you leave our home. We are blessed to be able to watch every step of the way for the first 17, 18 years, or maybe 20, depending on which kiddo it is. But ultimately, we want to be able to see, when you spread your wings, we want to see you soar. We want to see you just be able to not only get from one place to another, but do it with confidence and with pride and with joy.
Yeah.
And just with good, strong character. Because in my opinion, I don't know if it's everybody's opinion, but your character and your people skills are going to get you so much farther in life than your academic education.
Yeah.
Happily.
Yeah.
And there's a slogan that, you know, in the last 10 or so years we've used of just, you prepare them, you make them build seaworthy vessels. Like we're trying to build seaworthy vessels and not paper ships. So they're going to be prepared for life, because we can prepare them to succeed, but how do they handle failure? Because failure for all of us is going to happen. So like, how do we make sure that the waves of life, they're prepared to handle that, as opposed to if you made a paper ship, first waves crushing it. So like,
Great
that is our
visual.
goal of how do I raise my kids to do those things.
In addition to that, you're right. Public school is great for some. It works great for their family life. CC groups and different co-ops. What I'm hearing, though, is that as you are navigating and making choices from year to year for each of your children, you were able to find what you were looking for. And if it were support from other groups, am I hearing that? And
yes.
And then at times you're like, no, we're going to go our own different direction. And because I've seen at the library, and I think there's some like art classes for homeschool. Is that right?
There is so much out there for homeschooling. Even when our big kids were younger, it was there. Just a lot of people didn't know it existed because they weren't seeking it. But post-COVID, our homeschooling community in Wabash County has grown immensely, and it's beautiful because it wasn't as large pre-COVID, but it has grown. And yes, there are art classes. There are the library. I don't know if they still offer it or not. I would imagine they do, like science type of classes for
I believe
homeschooling.
so,
But our
yeah.
kids are older, so they don't have that.
Yeah.
Or we don't engage in that right now. There is stuff. There are shows at the Honeywell Center, Science Central in Fort Wayne. There are all kinds of homeschooling sports out there. Our
Great.
kids have played for years in Fort Wayne, travel
Fort
teams.
Wayne Guard.
Fort Wayne Guard.
Guardians.
There's, all kinds of sports.
Yeah.
Everything. And so much closer than Fort Wayne, too. There's Kokomo and Warsaw.
There's now one here in Wabash.
There is now an elementary boys team here in Wabash. It's been fun to watch that grow. Yes, there is a myriad of things for homeschooling.
Jennifer, who works with me at Visit Wabash County, her children are homeschooled through the CC program.
Yes.
And CC, again, remind me, is
Classical conversations.
Thank you.
The classical
She's-
education
She
model.
says that, but I always just hear her refer to it as CC.
CC.
And she has also talked about that network of resources, and she works part-time, and so she is able to navigate some of that, and they do some different things that public school doesn't do, and it doesn't make one better than the other. But the fact that there's a support
It works for their family,
which
yes.
is awesome.
And I don't think anyone should ever homeschool without their network of people.
Oh.
Because as teachers in the public school education field or private need other teachers to
Yes.
bounce things off of, need authority to go to speak to handle certain situations. Ultimately, in homeschooling, your family is your personal authority of all things. But to have that network of friends, you need that as a woman, as a mother, or as a father who's leading that home education program. Because there are multiple fathers who do that.
And parents
But you
split
need
it
that.
too.
Yes.
Like I hear Jennifer talk. Her husband has helped covering some of the science, astronomy things they're working on, and then she might cover some of the art, literature side, phonics side. So it's interesting. You
it's
both
90-10.
get to.
No.
It's
Thank you for your transparency, Jeff.
the Leslie home education is definitely 90-10. It's just
Let's just be real about it.
I couldn't do it
there
without
are
my
a lot of
principal,
people
though.
that it
He's
is
the principal of our homeschool.
You think
But-
about your kids and not only being in this homeschool setting and feeling you both pour into them to give them the best opportunity to thrive, to fall down, to make mistakes, to grow, to learn. Do you see the work that you have done at the barber shop and that mission field? Because you've launched I don't know if it's an official nonprofit
Yes.
that has come out of that mission field, and to see to have your children witness how you take every day and turn that into service. And so a little bit about your nonprofit, and I know you've done 7 years of the annual major fundraiser. I'm not trying, you break the deets.
It is. Our organization is called Center Court Cares, and it started, we just started after COVID or in the COVID time era that we were just like, let's do a golf outing for whatever. And then one of our friends had a kid who had leukemia, and we were at this golf outing. He said, man, can we do something to help our community? I want to give back because a lot of people gave to us, and I just want to give back to that. I said, let's talk after this golf outing and let's make this happen. So Kyle and I got together with him and just like, all right, what are you thinking? And it's just like a light bulb came on for all of us that just said, let's give back to our community, or at least the people we rub elbows with. So if it's not, I mean, we start in Wabash, but there's been people outside of Wabash, Wabash County, whatever. But we use the verse, 1 John 4:19, that says, we love because he first loved us. So no matter what we do, we're giving you this love because God loved us first. We're showing this to you. So we just give back in ways, in the unexpected ways, because we're not looking for people to go, hey, I need to pay my light bill today. Sure. Okay, I mean, that could be a need, and we're not disregarding that. But it is like, okay, somebody's going through some stuff. Where are the gaps that are not being filled, and where can we step in to help out? Whether it's gas cards going from here to Riley, or, you know, we've had a couple house fires, so let's get you some stuff for Walmart just to get the necessities, or a stay, or we've helped people that have been in horrible situations just move away from that situation, abusive type things. I mean, it's all over the board of what we're doing, but we're just trying to show love to our community, the people we do life with, just to make it a little bit better in life. So we have a golf outing second Saturday of every August, and we go just have a good time. Might as well have a good time while we raise some money, and we've raised a lot of money, and we've given a lot of money away, and it's just a fun time to go. Etna Acres has been awesome. They just let us do what we need to do to raise that, and we have 2 flights. I mean, we have almost 200 golfers on that day, and I mean, whatever we get, we just try to give. So there's really cool stuff happening, and if I'm just transparent, it's really a bummer at times, because you give to a situation that's not necessarily, I mean, it's a life or death situation, and we've had people pass away that we've given to, and it just breaks your heart, because you're not just giving money. I mean, we just said we're doing life with these people.
That's right.
So like ups and downs are in the joy of that. So you cry with them, you laugh with them, and yeah, but it's been good. We have an awesome team that makes it easy. Great guys, just loving on people.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the best part of it all is that, yes, these guys are doing life with these people and they are loving them. But even if only one of them has that connection with said person or family, they all feel it. They all understand, like, no, we've got to do this. We need to jump in and help out. That's a preface to the fact that the people that show up for the golf outing love our community. They love Wabash County. They want to do whatever they possibly can to help people out that they don't have said connection with. So they are all in. And it's even more fun to watch them just have a great time.
But
it's
that's
a fun day.
The other reason we stay, I mean, not reason why we stay in Wabash, but man, Wabash shows up.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
that is 100%. This area, Wabash County, Miami County, shows up.
Yeah.
We say what we're doing, and there's a lot of good businesses that are like, yes, whatever you guys need, we will help you out. And like uber thankful for all that stuff, and just the people who in this community realize that this is about the community. Yeah. They just, I mean, without question, they're like, if you're helping our people, we're in.
Yeah.
So.
And I think we hear that over and over again. I'm blessed to co-host this podcast with Alex and Adam, and sometimes we get to be together. They each host their own guests. And what you said is woven through every episode. It comes back to place and people's choice to be involved, to care, to offer that hand to help someone up, to see them, to value them exactly who and where they are, right? And so Center Court Cares has really blossomed into this place of just authentic, how can I help you? How can we help you? How can we surround you and make you feel loved? Because he loved us first. Right. That same or similar type of philosophy, faith practice is evident in your church. You both have been on multiple mission trips in places that might look like they belong on a postcard if you're standing from one perspective, right?
Sure.
But if you see the whole 360, you can show up and serve. So maybe a little bit about your church. I know your church has a specific call to action or mission that they use, because I had to ask you what that meant, and what that's been like not only for you but for your children, then to know that this is what you go off and you do. Either of you.
He went on his first mission trip to Mexico, Juarez.
15 years ago.
Right after Isabella was born.
Yeah.
She was born in September, and I feel like y'all left
went in January.
And he came back on fire. And so, in short, we'd always had thoughts about adopting or fostering or all of these things. And we love our church. We love the Lord more than anything. And just pouring into service for him. What do we feel he's calling us to do? And more than a handful of years ago, we've been on multiple trips. I don't even remember when it was our first year.
It does.
The first time he and I went to Guatemala together, I was hooked, and I had a very difficult time coming home because of all of the
Every
kids.
time you've had
Every time. I do have a hard time coming
So
home.
the hook for you is what, Karen? When you say I was hooked, what is that hook?
Loving on the kids, loving on the families who don't have anything, and just being able to serve them and help them and show them God's love, because a lot of them don't even know that.
Yeah.
But they're hungry for it. They're hungry for love. They're hungry for acceptance. They're hungry for ultimately the Lord, whether they know that or not, you know. That's what our hearts desire. And I just had a hard time leaving that. It's very peaceful. It's very quiet. What we have in America is an abundance of unnecessary things, and you don't realize that until you're there. When the people who live there are more joyful and joyous in the midst of nothing than we here are.
What we think is nothing. You know?
Sure.
Well, yes, agreed.
Yeah.
We just have come to accept the quote unquote need to have certain things here. But when it's all stripped away and they're just relational people, and that's where they find their purpose and their love and acceptance is in people. It's a beautiful thing to experience. So I could pretty much guarantee that if we didn't have children stateside over here in the United States, he would have had a very difficult time getting me to come home if we didn't have kids over here.
Well, and I think, not to cut you off, but
No,
like
you're
I
fine.
think the heart of it all, to tie this back into the church thing, is like you go down there and you realize that it's more than just United States. It's more than just like God is in control of this whole earth, not just Midwest.
Right.
God is in control of
Not just the evangelicals
Right,
that
yeah.
know about it.
And
Right.
Yeah.
not
Right.
just people who speak
Everyone,
English, not
everything.
just people who, you know, like everybody's out there, and this gospel is for everybody. So like, it's not just selective. So to open your eyes to that and realize different cultures and understand different things, and, you know, you see different cultures lived out here and you're like, man, that's weird. But if you go to that culture, that's what they do. That's a constant. And you just see glimpses of it here. But then to go back to the church thing, that's who we're for. We're for everybody. And our for campaign is that, like, we get into a lot of times of what the church is against. We hear, oh man, we're against.
Yeah.
And the whole idea is we are for these things. We are for love. We are for taking care of people. We are for spreading the gospel. But let's show you what we're for. We're for this community. We're for the area. We're here to show you God's love. We can debate other things that get dissected all the time. But the idea is God loves you. And I mean, love God, love people. That's the core of everything. Love God, love people. Okay.
And stop.
Right.
There's not a caveat on any of that, is there?
I mean, we can break down sin all day long, and we're all going to look horrible. Right. So, like,
Right.
it is what it is. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to dissect yours and mine. We can get into
all
that
the
later
same.
if you want
Yeah.
to talk about all that
Right.
stuff. But we are for sharing Jesus with this community. That's what Bachelor Creek is all about.
So I saw FOR on bumper stickers, on the trailer that sits outside your church. And Brooks and I, my husband and I, we were talking one day. We're like, what do you think that for means? I said, I don't know. And then one day you were driving by on Miami Street, and I saw it. I was like, on your car, you have a decal. Cal, I feel like you do, because I said to Brooks, I'm going to ask Jeff Leslie. He's going to know. And it was a wonderful reminder of what we are here for, right? That eye-opening. And you can see the heart of the congregation at Bachelor Creek is truly for this community on the way that I follow on social media. I listen to Joel's sermons on the app. So thank you. Please tell Joel not to stop doing that because I sometimes listen to so many sermons. I love feeding my brain in different styles and the way teaching styles. But your congregation, part of that culture is that love God, love people. And so we're going to be, and you're out doing mission trips and your sweat equity, right? So it's not the generosity of just writing the check. No. It's so much, it's more than that.
Yeah.
And we're not just trying to reach mission trips to go somewhere else. We're trying to do.
We're for Wabash.
We're like, we go back to Center Court Cares. We're rubbing elbows with people.
That's right.
We are for these people. Like,
supporting Lighthouse Mission, a big part of the congregation and the community's heart, but just specifically speaking about Bachelor Creek Church of Christ, to walk alongside and say, we see what you're doing. We see how you see people and meet them where they are.
And there's other organizations that do things so well, like Lighthouse. Yeah. Like you guys are doing so well. Yes, we could put a team out to go do that, but they're doing it well. So let's just help fund that. Like, you're doing good. Let's be for your mission. Yes. So like we can pour in different ways and just make those things happen. So
what does the future look like for the Leslies? You know, you've got Elijah off to college. Okay. And do you mind sharing what age you said, but what grade? 18. He's 18. And then Isabella is?
She's 15.
Okay.
So she's just a freshman. She just turned 15. And then our two littles, our twins, are just 2. And our life looks a lot different than what we anticipated it would be many years ago.
So when did when did you get this calling to foster? And we're going to be super sensitive to honor the system.
Thank you.
But I definitely think that another attribute of both of you is that never ending, that constant heart to serve the best you can. And stepping into being foster parents is next level for many. So a little bit about that future of foster care and your littles and the prayer that they become actual Leslies. Now we can talk a lot more open about them.
Yes.
So like I had said, we had wanted to do something like that. But then we got into the mission, like fostering for a long time. And then we got away from that because we were doing mission trip after mission trip at least once a year. And so I felt like that's where the Lord was actually pulling my heart for children, was to the mission field. Mm-hmm. And then lo and behold, I don't know if that changed or if he just redirected our focus. It was 22 Thanksgiving time of 22 or 21. Mm-hmm. I just felt like there was sign after sign, whether it was a billboard or something that came onto the radio or the little signs on the side of the road or songs or scripture that I was reading. The Lord just kept saying, Karen, now's the time. We need you to foster. Because for years, I wanted to. He wasn't ready. He was ready. No, not now. Homeschooling's too much right now for that. And one thing after another, not wanting to disrupt the home with having other kiddos in the house. But this time I just couldn't shake it. I really felt like the Lord was knocking hard. So I brought it up.
In the middle of Sunday, like brunch, we're sitting down and, hey.
Speak to him about it first.
Please pass the butter. We have more kids coming.
Yeah, hey, pass the butter. I want to bring kids into our house. Thank you. What kids? Like one of the friends here? Like they can come over at any time.
It was not that bad.
You talked to Elijah and Isabella. It was pretty close to.
We are very good at communicating and discussing things first, but the Lord made me spit these words out before I spoke to him first. And it was with our bigs around the table. And I said, what do y'all think about fostering? And they're like, what? And he literally choked. Not choked, but like coughed his food out kind of thing. And they're like, what is going on? And he was like, what are you talking about? So in short, we were all on board. And even the big kids, Elijah and Isabella, were like, yeah, let's do this.
Wonderful.
So that was...
Because children, your bigs,
yes.
could feel threatened,
100%,
insecure.
Yes.
So now Elijah's gone off to start in his own adult life. Isabella's there, who's going to, divide my parents' attention, and that she must have had questions, but must feel very secure in the love that you both give her, that didn't feel in jeopardy.
It is, I'll be honest, handling this whole situation of foster care without the bigs being on board and helping the way they've helped, it wasn't going to happen.
Sure.
They've been as big of a component to this as anything else. So Elijah and Isabella stepping in and doing the things that not a lot of teenagers do, or care more about these kids than they do a lot of other situations. Having Elijah and Isabella step up, when we got these girls, Elijah was like, hey, before we even got both of them home, we only had one of them home, and Elijah's like, we're taking these kids in, right? We're adopting these children. No, dude, that's not how that works. This is not. No. But he was all in. Isabella's been all in. That was a big concern when we decided to adopt. How are they gonna react? If it's not okay, we can't do it.
And they're still trying to. I'm sorry. They're also. They aren't at your maturity, obviously they're children, to process all the pieces, to have all the back information. And so for them to trust and fold these two new individuals into their home, that is huge. That is really scary, or could be really scary.
Yeah. We've had other children in our home prior to our girls, a couple different sibling sets. And after each one, we just kind of sit back and reassess. And even in the midst of raising and providing and loving on these children, whomever it is in our home, we are very open communicators with our bigs.
Yeah.
And are very concerned about their well-being, their emotional well-being, their spiritual well-being. Are they getting enough from us? And so we just continue to this day to talk through things with them. They've seen a lot of difficult things. They've seen a lot of beautiful things, and our girls have been a major blessing to watch unfold the whole thing. Life and relationship between the two bigs and the two littles is one of the biggest blessings, I think, that Jeffrey and I have been able to experience in our lifetime.
And what you both are learning,
yes,
as you fostered before, now if things work out, these two lives will be last named Leslie. You've already folded them, and they're already family.
Yes.
I'm sure you both have learned a lot in this process about marriage, relationship. I mean, you're already learning all the time about parenting, right? Parenting is not.
It must be a Sunday because we're preaching up in here.
Right, right. But you both must have also had challenges that you stayed centered in Christ, but prayed through to get through it as a couple.
Oh, yes.
As partners in life.
Yes.
Because the world didn't pause so you two could figure it out.
No, it couldn't. No. Life couldn't pause.
It all kept happening, and you two are trying to figure out, how do we get to the next step with these two beautiful children?
Yes. Yeah, we have learned a lot about each other, about ourselves in turn.
Yeah.
And about our kids, all four of them.
And you don't want that to end.
No.
It's never guaranteed it's going to get easier. Right? That's where we grow, is in the heart, in the discomfort. When you're in Guatemala and it's uncomfortable, or you're in the mission field, it's uncomfortable. When you're at home and the conversations are hard and it's uncomfortable, we have a choice in that moment to grow in it or to fight it. And when you lean in, you grow, and it hurts and it's hard. And sometimes it ends with an "I'm sorry," or "Please, let's pause and pray in this." The rest of the world didn't just stop and say, "Okay, we're going to give you two space to navigate this." Nope, it's just going to get harder.
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes the valley can feel really deep. If someone is interested in foster care, from your perspective, and they're wondering what they can do and what that looks like, one, are you welcome to them reaching out to either of you?
Oh, yeah.
And then is the second, where do you recommend them go for resource outside of the both of you?
Oh, I highly recommend Josiah White's foster care. I can't speak for any other foster agencies because we haven't had that relationship with anyone else. We just went directly to Josiah White's, and their entire team from top to bottom is phenomenal, and very much not only for the children in our care, the children in the state of Indiana, but for their foster families. So for us, they're huge advocates for us. What do we need? What can we help you with? How can we step in? They're very communicative, and I highly recommend them. And they are not just in Wabash County; they're in Fort Wayne. And I have
There's
met
more places too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We
There's
interviewed Matthew on one of our older episodes. You can go back and listen. And he talks about they're in multiple counties
Yes.
and servicing foster care needs.
Yes.
Which
And
is
they
remarkable.
connect, they network really well together.
Good.
And yeah, if we as families in Wabash need something, whether it's care for a child when we are leaving to go somewhere and they can't go out of state, whatever, then we can network with those other locations as well. They're phenomenal.
And
they absolutely are phenomenal.
When they're doing, like, you have to do some training things and yada, yada, yada. And sometimes just training and meetings get, like, for me, just like overwhelming. Like, I don't like doing that. But the community also, hey, here's more parents that are doing the same thing you're doing. So, like, that aspect of it is, okay, you're another face that's in this with me. And, like, that's a wonderful thing to know that you're not the only foster parent doing some crazy stuff. It's
because nobody else understands our life, the way we are living, the things that we have to do, the feelings that we are enduring and that we are working through. Nobody else understands that unless they have been a foster parent. Nobody does. And so we need that. You just have those friendships. It's like homeschooling. We homeschooling mamas need other homeschooling mamas. They are our people. Same thing with fostering. They are our people. But again, our church is for our community and they show up for us. We have a massive village around us.
It's got to feel good to be able to be vulnerable.
Yes.
On what you don't know or what's frustrating or makes you feel anxious or fearful. To have that support system, no matter what the focus is on, whether it's your church family, your homeschool family, the foster care family, the resource at Josiah White's, to be able to be vulnerable in the unknowing is sometimes the relief people need. To just let it, they might not even have the answer at that moment, but to have those people hold that space for you in your hardest moments. So you both choose to remain here in this community. You spoke about some things that just make my heart smile that I don't have as much exposure to: homeschooling, foster care. I'm not a golfer.
That's okay, but
we
you
do
can be
lean
there.
In. Yeah, and we do sponsor when we connect.
Yes, you do.
We're going to get you better at remembering to ask everybody. I'm always
that's
like,
tough. Everyone,
Jeff, I want to give you money. How do I do this? You're like, I'll take it.
Walk into the
we'll
shop.
take it. Just come to the barber shop.
Write a
Whatever we
check.
can do.
Take it.
Everybody help. Anyway, go ahead.
But when I look at what you both are doing in this community, and you had said the community so pours out support whenever you ask for Center Court Cares. Do you think that's special here? And I mean this sincerely, because if not, I imagine you, like, why stay?
In Wabash?
Yeah, why did you stay? You're not afraid of moving and picking up and going, right? You've proven that.
No, we've talked about that a few different times just because we're like, okay, we're getting older. We were going to be empty nesters. Shall we move down south? We are mountain people. We are lake people.
Yeah.
We love the outdoors.
I love spending time on the beach.
Right, yeah. Not at all, but his wife does. But he'll be there.
Right.
So actually you do. You enjoy your metal detecting. That's fun.
I go straight old man.
No.
He does.
I put on the Hawaiian
amazing.
shirt, the big hat,
Yes.
Pulls those socks up.
socks up, with
Zinc right
sandals.
here on his nose
Yes.
so he doesn't burn.
Embrace it.
He's got his
Yeah.
And then
bucket
I
hat.
go out there and clean the beach of bottle caps and tent stakes.
Paper clips.
Paper clips.
Hoping for
Get
the
my
treasure. He's a goonie at heart.
Yes.
You're a goonie, aren't you?
Yes.
I
Never
enjoy
say
the
that.
haul. Every time we come back, he was like, "You want to see my haul?" Yes, I do.
Please, it's
And I
5
do it
nails.
like an influencer.
I
Like,
found a penny
look what I got today.
This is today's review. I'm going to
Yes.
hold it
Yes.
close to the camera.
Yeah. No, but Wabash County
Yes,
is
why?
phenomenal. I mean, the majority, no longer the majority of my life, but for many, I mean, I was in Florida for 16 years. So that was a big majority of my life until a few years ago. And living in Orlando, the people are not as relational as what you are going to find here. Life is too busy. Life is too widespread. You don't have your community of people. He's from Chicagoland area. Same thing, I feel. But here in Wabash, you have your community of people.
Yeah.
And there are multiple networks. There are multiple pockets of those. Like even on Sunday mornings, I was on worship team yesterday, and there were so many people who came in. I'm like, I have never seen them before, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But everyone here in Wabash seems grounded in what they believe and what they hope for and what they desire for their families. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you can get that in many places. Yeah. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I don't think I've had exposure to living in multiple places over my lifetime. And no, I wouldn't choose to raise my kids anywhere else.
But we talked about it before, like, hey, just being open to whatever. So the church community we have, and I will say it as, just my friends that I have that I do life with, not just my church community. There's the Fountain, like we get together with them guys a lot, and it's just like they got a good thing going. Like how many churches are willing to work together?
Right.
And this area is really good about it.
Not drawing these boundaries like,
they try and break down the boundaries that used to exist.
And it's just like, all right, so we'll take care of the north, you take care of the south. Like let's work together of getting just this community together. But just, I don't know, like, I don't think you can replace some of the village that we've talked about in a lot of other areas. And the friendships we made in the last 20 years are awesome. Like you can't just find that anywhere. I mean, that's cultivated in this area very well. And we talked about that too, right?
Yeah.
Wabash comes together for a lot of good things. So
pick something. Right? It's like idea becomes action here.
Yes.
Over and over and over. And it may not be your thing.
Right.
It might be somebody else's thing and they focus on that, but they put those people around them and move it forward. And same with, in the call to action for all of us is be a part of it then.
Yes.
If you are into plant preservation or pick the thing that you're super into.
Well, let's go back to the small business revolution stuff.
Yeah.
That week before, we were not winning that thing.
Yeah.
And we all met down at your office and like business owners are like, what do we got to do? Who are we reaching out to? And then all of a sudden in the last week, we put together a push and we won that thing somehow. Like,
what do we need to do?
That is just a
Let's
community going, all right, hey, we got to come together because this is valuable to us.
Yeah.
And this is valuable not to just downtown, it's valuable to everybody else, but like, let's go, let's rally. And that was just a community coming together.
Because we rally. The people in Wabash County rally around people who have a passion for something. Like you said, it might not be for everyone.
Right.
But if someone has a passion or a desire that seeks good, I feel like our community is going to rally around said individual or group of persons to make it happen. And it happens in all fields. All aspects of what happens in this community.
All corners, from the easy, glittery, sparkly stuff, like building a brand new YMCA or a river trail, to the hard stuff. I have an episode coming up this season with Problem Solving Court, some of our most vulnerable population and how they can work with individuals who are struggling to also have them be a part of that greater good, right? So that we can't forget those who live in our community who are suffering, who have challenges to break cycles of poverty, cycles of trauma. And so it can be the glittery, shiny stuff, and it can be the hard work, but people do lean in and pour in to support those things, even when it's uncomfortable. Thank you both for being here, for loving this community, for being for it in its truest sense, for showing that to children, whether they share the same DNA or not, whether they live in the same continent or not, whether they attend your own home church or in your own county. Love God, love people. This podcast is also made possible by people who see potential in things. When we launched this, we had no idea which direction it was going to go, but they were for us and they trusted us and they said, let's make it happen, right? This idea became action. So a special thanks to Sandra Kunkel Trust, Lisa Gilman Investment Fund, Mark and Amy Ford, the Community Foundation of Wabash County, the City of Wabash, and Visit Wabash County. All of those pour in to make sure that we can share stories, inspiration, fellowship like you two have done today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, until next time, I'm Christine Floor, and this is ThrivIN Wabash County.
Okay.